Hey guys, welcome back. It is another grooming session, and yes, it's another bathing session. So if you've been following along, this is Persephone's second bath. She had one about 4 days ago in real life. In your world, it was about a month ago, just based on how I schedule these out so that they don't overwhelm you and bore you to death. But because she was just bathed about 4 days ago. So yes, the last time she was bathed was on a Sunday, and it is now Thursday. There's really not much for me to do other than to rebathe her, recondition her, and I'm spot checking for any more shed that's coming out. And I have found a little bit, right? So a little bit of shed is coming out. And I'm using the undercoat rake. I usually don't start with this because I want to get all the tangles out of her hair first. I don't want to aggravate her skin or pull more cashmere down into a tangle that exists. But the beauty of this is that she really doesn't have any tangles because we just went through all this. So this is a show prep process. And again, if you've been following along, so she had a full-on spring brush out that took quite a long time, about 45 minutes. That is about the longest. I mean, Denali took longer, but that should be about the longest it ever takes you to groom a goat. And again, if you're grooming with a full intent of prepping for show. So at that brush out, I got all her winter tangles out, most of her cashmere shed out. I also, sorry, I keep walking off camera because the muck bucket that I put the hair in is over there away from the stand instead of normally right next to me because I don't want it to get full of water. So again, total brush out, took a while. Then I put her back up on the stand about a week after that brush. And it was almost exactly a week. Actually, it was 8 days after that brush. And I bathed her, but it required some brush out. And you can see that despite everything, there's still some tangles here. They're not hard. And because her hair is so silky, clean, and smooth, it's really all the cashmere. It just comes out. It slides down the shaft. But if it catches a nice clump of hair, it makes a little bit harder for it to shed out naturally. So we're helping that process along a bit. But after, here, see, can you see that? It looked silky smooth. It looked like nothing, but with one little stroke of the undercoat, there's now some cashmere coming out. I want all that gone before she goes in the show ring, if at all possible. And since I'm on this side now, I'm going to collect a pile rather than walk back and forth in front of the camera. Here's another little section. All of this was smooth at the end of her bath 4 days ago. It's just fresh shed out. It's coming out nice and easy, as it should, right? And it's clean. So theoretically, this is like the best stuff to collect to use if you were to use the cashmere. It's not nearly enough to really do anything with. I'm not getting tons and tons of cashmere at this time because I've brushed out most of it, but there is some here, and that is why I go over her with an undercoat rake for this last bath before we get started on the bath. Get all that good stuff out. Yeah, see, I'm just a little bit more back here. So really where the shed continuation is on the parts that are motion parts, right? Her shoulder blade, her hip, nothing really here in the middle. And that would make sense just based on the hair movement, the ability for it to probably get a little more tangled, a little bit more caught up because of that. And of course, she's also nursing babies still, who are going to be pulling on her hair and making her dirty. They chew on her hair sometimes. Thankfully, it doesn't look like they've chewed any hair off. We've had that happen in the past, and that's no fun. So going over her with a once over with the undercoat rake really is intended to find these last little bits and make sure that this bath, which is her final show prep bath, puts her in as pristine a condition as possible. Now, the reality is she's a goat, right? Like, she's going back into the stall and the pasture when this is done, and we're not leaving for the show until tomorrow. So she's going to get a little dirty. That's just going to happen, right? And we'll do some touch up at the show. There are certain things that I will do at the show that I don't do here. I will take baby wipes and clean the inside of her ear and clean around her anus and all the fun parts, right? There's no need for me to do that here, and it's not normally part of the routine. They don't get that dirty. It's just not necessary. But it is good to get them all brushed and shed out. Now, a couple of folks, see, that's why I waited until I had it all collected. A couple of folks have asked me, do you have to bathe your goats? And the answer is no. You don't have to bathe your goats. If you have this breed, you do need to brush them out once or twice a year, minimum. I do it a lot more frequently than that, but I'm trying to keep them in show shape. So minimum once or twice a year to brush them out. And then absolute minimum is every 6 weeks or so, you need to, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, you need to trim their hooves. And since trimming their hooves isn't necessarily, at least for me anyway, I mean, I'm sure some people do it better, but it isn't necessarily something that I can do while they're, quote, on the hoof, meaning just walk out in the pasture, snatch them up, hold them while I trim their hooves. There are people that can do that, I'm sure. I am not one of them. So in order for me to trim their hooves, I'm putting them up on this grooming stand anyway. And if I'm going to put them up on the grooming stand every 6 weeks, well, I'm darn sure going to run a brush through their hair while they're up there. And again, if you've been following me along since last year when I sort of started this journey, after this initial round of spring shed out and grooming, the process is quite fast. It's 10, 15 minutes max. It's not anything significant in terms of time investment. And it keeps their coat much healthier. It keeps my life much easier because that fall brush out, when they start to grow their cashmere back in, means that I've got their coat prepared to not grow cashmere into dirty, clumpy, knotted hair. They don't really get mats because once that cashmere is gone, there is no matting. There's nothing to mat. The texture of their hair is smooth as silk. Can it not? Can it get vegetation stuck in it? Absolutely. And does that happen? Absolutely. So by doing it, by brushing them out every 6 weeks or so, you're just keeping the coat healthy. You're keeping the skin oils, flowing and stimulated so that they do keep that coat silky, shiny, and smooth. And then when they grow their cashmere in over the fall, winter, it's growing in where it should be, which is underneath these hairs. It's not collecting hair that there's now going to be, tangles throughout the winter. And it just makes it a little bit better for the goat. Again, none of this is mandatory. This is just my process. So, hey, if you're new here, we do these grooming, or I do these grooming sessions every weekend, and I post a new one every Saturday morning until we get into deep winter when grooming stops because it's just too darn cold and too darn miserable. So I'm really glad you're here to join us. I don't talk much about what's happening on the farm or technical current events because, unfortunately, this is the only video series. This is the only type of video that I collect and post, right? So I don't think you're going to see this video until the end of May. Yeah, I know. And technically, I'm doing this April 30th. So I'm about a month out. And that's because I do multiple goats at a time. When I'm prepping for show like this, today I'm going to do 4 goats. But one of them you're going to see much sooner than this because it's a baby, and you know what, that's just going to be cute, and we're going to post that one off cycle. So that's what's going on here, and that's why I'm not necessarily, giving you updates about babies or anything else, because by the time you see this video, actually most of the babies, if not all of them, should be home with their new families, which is super exciting. Sad, but exciting. So again, I think if you watched Persephone's grooming video, the initial brush out, like I said, it was about 45 minutes. If you watched her first bath, which included, a supplemental brush out, just like I did now, except it took longer. I think it was more like a 35 minute video. It might have been a little bit longer than that. Might have been a little bit shorter. Lord knows, I can't remember. And all I'm doing now is conditioning. One of the other changes that you may have noticed on the channel, if you've been paying attention, and drop a note in the comments if you did notice, because, be curious to see if you did, is I'm now able to not just link products in the description, which I do anyway, but I can tag products so that you can actually click and shop them. So all of my grooming products that I can find, not all the products are taggable, quote unquote, but the ones I can find, I have tagged in these videos. And I've done that for a couple of reasons. And again, I've told you this is a full transparency channel. There are no secrets here. Reaching 1,000 subscribers, which, oh my gosh, right? We've talked about that, is incredible. Unlocked the ability for me to do this tagging. And the brands, apparently, and it's kind of new to me, right? I'm still figuring it out. But if I tag the brand and the product, and then you click on it and shop, I get a commission, right? Which is no different than the Amazon affiliate links that I have posted below in the description box. And they will still be there for you so that you can shop them wherever you want. So the brand tags, in this case, for my products, it turns out Chewy is sort of the brand, or yeah, the brand. Maybe the retailer is the better word. The retailer that has this ability for me. So Amazon doesn't have this ability for me, but I can tag. So I've tagged the shampoo, the brushes, right? If I'm able to tag them, and through Chewy, you click that link instead of the Amazon link, right? So it's just a different link. One is in the video itself where it says like view products, and then it gives you clickable links. The other is in the description box below. So the Chewy links actually pay a 10% commission off of your purchase price. And that's huge, right? All of that, if ever there's a proceed from that, will go right back into the animals. I don't take anything from the farm. The farm is not a charity. It is not a 501c3. Technically, we're a for-profit business, but I operate it pretty much at a break-even level, and everything that we make, including all the soap products that I do, and anything that may come in from this now, goes right back into the animals. It does not go into my pocket. And that's the way I want to work it, right? Like, hey, it's a fabulous way to do a little bit more self-sustaining. They're the stars of the show. They should get the benefit. So I tell you all this because I want you to be aware, if you notice the change, and if you happen to even click the links, right? I've always put in the description box a disclaimer, a notification that Amazon links are affiliate links, meaning that if you click and purchase, I do get a couple of pennies. And I have said that it's a couple of pennies. It really is, right? So just to be clear, I think in the last 8 months, those couple of pennies have added up to $13. But it's $13 more than zero. And $13, I mean, as silly as it sounds, it's half a bag of feed, right? and it's 2 bales of hay, and that's a big deal, right? I really want to make sure you understand I'm not belittling this, right? It's been absolutely fabulous to be able to have those links and have a few folks click and purchase, and hopefully, you got the sale price or whatever, and we're able to get a good deal. Well, now with the Chewy, with the brand, with this unlocked capability that I've now, it's like playing a video game. I've unlocked a new level. Those product links, if you happen to need them and you happen to click them and you happen to purchase, that does have the ability to be a little bit more rewarding. So I tell you all this not to tell you to go shop there or not to tell you to click on links and buy stuff you don't need. Please don't. That is not the requirement here. And I'll repeat, I am not a charitable business. We're not a charity. We're not 501c3. This is technically a for-profit business. It doesn't operate at a profit, but that's all right. That was the plan from the get-go. I do this because I love it, and I am thrilled that I can put every little bit back into it to keep this farm going, to keep the animals happy, healthy, right? And all that. So again, more for full transparency than anything else. I just wanted you to know if you happen to notice that. So, other fun things that YouTube leveling up has a lot unlocked for me. And yes, this is why I was in a race to 1,000 subscribers, if you were part of that. It wasn't really a race. It took me 18 months to get there. Is unlocking this level, did give that ability, right? Is unlocking some of the opportunities to turn these videos into a little bit of cash if it happens to work out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, right? I'm still doing them. I've been doing them for 18 months for nothing. I'm not going to stop doing them if nothing happens. But if something happens, yay. So other features that have been unlocked for those that are interested are memberships, which I have not turned on, are super thanks and super chats, and the ability to do some live streaming, which I have, again, not done and don't intend to right now. I'm thinking about it, though. I'm wondering if these grooming sessions would turn into a nice live stream and how that would be managed. I'm not sure yet. I think that would require me to have more equipment than I do, and I don't intend to invest in equipment at this point in time. So I'm still researching that, which gives me something new to research, and there's nothing wrong with that because I enjoy the research process. So super thanks are indeed unlocked. So you may have also noticed, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on another platform, you may not have noticed that there's a little like $sign now. And it allows you to donate directly through YouTube. It is considered a donation because, I'm not asking for anything. I'm not selling anything. You're not getting anything in return. But it's another way to open that door for people who feel so inclined. I would call it more of a tip jar than anything. And those I did unlock, and actually I unlocked them several weeks ago, and never really said anything because I don't want it to feel like this channel is all about begging for money. There are so many out there already that are doing that. You don't need me to do that. But I want to tell you about it because I don't want you to see it, notice it, and wonder what's up, right? Because that's how I roll. So those are the things that are unlocked. What I've been thinking about, much less than memberships. So memberships, I now have the capability to open up, which means that you could, quote unquote, be a member of the channel, and I'm supposed to give you special perks. And a lot of the YouTube world out there, from a special perks perspective, give early access to videos. So they post a members only video for a couple of days, and then they release it to the wide public. And so for, $2 or $3 a month, you get that benefit. And they get $2 or $3 a month from you, which is huge for them, I'm sure. I don't want to do that. Our videos, for the most part, are posted in real time, meaning that they go up Within, I would call it 48 to 72 hours of the time that they are taken. And for example, right, today is Thursday. I have Thursday morning's video has already gone out. Thursday evening's video is already queued up and ready to go out. So it's already, scheduled out there. Friday morning's video is also scheduled out there, but Friday night's video has not even been taken yet. So, I will take some videos today, and Friday night's video will be taken I guess technically a little over 24 hours from the time that between the time I take it and the time you see it, right? So, when I talk about posting in real time, trying to open up a membership to the channel that gives you a benefit of seeing the video a day or two earlier, I don't think that's a benefit to you. I don't think it's worthwhile. And if it's not something that I find worthwhile or something that would be worth the money you would invest, even if it's $1, is just not something I want to do. So I've been trying to think about how else to leverage that membership option. I haven't found a way yet, to be honest with you. There's just nothing that comes to mind, right? Because I could do membership and you get special videos on individual animals or something, but that adds obligation to me. And of course, I'm going to live into that obligation if you're investing in it, but I already have enough on my plate. The last thing I need is another deadline, another obligation, another thing, right? These videos are unscripted, they're unplanned. They are just things that we roll with, right? And for me to say, okay, well, if you're a member, on the first Monday of every month, we're going to do a special video just for you, and it's going to be a deep dive into an animal. I don't know. I'm making it up, right? And you come to expect that. Well, darn it, I have to deliver it. And what if the animal doesn't want to perform? What if the animal happens to be sick? What if I'm not available to make that post happen for some reason, right? It's too much to think about in terms of setting myself up for success and setting up a membership program that would make sense for you or that you might even have interest in, right? So I'm not doing it. That's the upshot there. See, now a little bit more stuff came out after a shampoo and a condition. Not much, a little bit. Now I'm going to leave her on this side. I haven't sprayed her with conditioner spray yet, but the reason I'm leaving her without doing that is because I still have to do her head and I don't want to rinse everything off. So we're going to rinse the conditioner on this side, do her head, and then we'll do a final spray. I know. I always am testing the water, even though we have hot water on demand. I find that first little burst of turning the hot water heater going again does throw a bit of a hotter second there. It's not burning by any means, but I think it's too warm. So I wait until that hits my hand and then I use it. So the other thing that I've been thinking about for this channel is live streaming. And live streaming can be very lucrative if you're entertaining, if you have an audience that cares, that's available, right? And a lot of the live streamers are gamers, are commentary comedians, and they sit on the phone. They sit on the live stream for hours on end. They talk to their audience. Their audience can't talk back other than through chat, so you have to type. And they offer, ways to quote unquote reward your content creator, reward your YouTuber that way. Now, I'm thinking about it not because I think that there's money in it, because frankly, I don't think there is. Not for this channel, not for this audience, not for what we do, okay? What I'm thinking about it for is I think it would be a nice treat. People have asked all the time if they can come visit the farm, and unfortunately, I'm just not set up for that right now, so it's not possible. People do want to, they do ask, you guys do ask questions. You do send me notes. A lot of times I get emails or phone calls or, you know, direct messages with some questions about a video or around a video. And I thought maybe that would be a cool way to have that conversation semi-live, right? Meaning it's in real time, you're watching as I'm talking, and you're typing, and I'm supposed to be following along on the chat and responding. Here's my dilemma, right? With that is, when do I do it? Do I do it on an evening sometime when people are home from work? Do I do it on a Sunday morning, a Saturday morning, a Friday night? Like, you know, the amount of time to do this can be very intensive, but it can also be a lot of fun. I would love to engage with you guys more. So I don't know what time would be a good time if we did a live. If we were to do, and it's not going to be a regular occurrence, it's going to be a special event. So let's just be clear about that, because I don't think I could do it every week or every month, right? Like, I just don't think I could commit to that. But what if we planned one kind of special and tried it? If we did that, I have to learn how to do it first. So it's not going to happen until, you know, summertime probably. The reality of it is I have to figure out how to do it. I have to test it. I have to make sure it would work. But leave me a comment below and tell me when you would want to do it and what you would want to see, right? Do you want to do it while I'm working like this, which means I'm going to be busier and less interactive on the chat? Do you want me to do it while I'm out in the pasture, just hanging out with the gang? Do you want me to focus on a specific, you know, look and see or feel about the animals? If we were to do one, I intend, if I'm going to do one, because I've done a little bit of research already, my intent for this would be to use my phone, which is my only recording device. And it would be, what I would be doing really would be blind video, right? I would have the camera, the normal recording camera, so I believe that's the back-facing camera, right? I would have that doing the recording, but I would need to have the front of the phone, the screen, facing me so that I could see the rolling chat and actually answer what's coming in. If I did that, I'm sure video quality would be garbage, because again, be kind of blind. You'd have to kind of almost guide me through the chat, lower, higher. So it may be more work than it's worth, and it may be less value add for you if you're looking at the sky or the ground or something for too long. So I've been thinking through all of that, right? Trying to figure out how I do this without investing in all sorts of setups. Most of the people who do lives are sitting at a desk. They have multiple screens. They have a camera set up. They're not doing it out in the middle of a field or a pasture with animals around. They're not trying to do it while they're walking. Actually, some people do it while we're walking, and I did look at that. The ones that do it while they're walking have actually two screens, one on a selfie stick, one facing them that's larger, and they're literally walking around with the selfie stick, the thing facing forward, the view facing them, so they can see the screen and the chat, and I'm surprised they don't trip over themselves and fall. But we can absolutely do that. We can do it while we take a walk in the woods or a walk in the hay field. You know, we're starting to get to that time of year, especially summertime, where we can do that. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but it's worth a try. So let me know. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that aspect of this new level that I've unlocked here. Is it something that's worth pursuing? Is it something that's worth giving a shot? And if it fails, it fails. Live streams, for the record, are also recorded and published after the fact. The difference, of course, is that they're not interactive at that point. So if you weren't able to attend, you know, you would still get to see and hear and listen if you chose. I don't know how entertaining I really am. But it would be definitively something that we would not do all the time, but could be a fun special treat once in a blue moon, once a quarter maybe. I don't know. Maybe as I'm sitting around waiting for babies and it's freezing out. I don't know. You know, there's different times a year I've been thinking about it. I'd love to know your thoughts and your suggestions if you have any. You don't have any? That's cool too. That means that we don't do it. And I'm going to continue to kind of noodle on how we best get all of the value that we can out of our quote unquote time together. And if it's literally just more videos, I think I got this down to a fairly well science. We know that my production value is what it is, right? But I think I've got most of it working now that I know how my microphone works again and all that stuff. And we can give other stuff a try or leave it as it is. I'm happy and content with as it is. So if you are, we roll that way. All right, guys. She's about, well, not, her patience is about done. She's finished in terms of her groom. So I'm going to get her off the stand, back in the pasture with her baby. She's going to get dirty again because, bless her heart, that's how Persephone rolls. And I'm going to get the next one up on the stand, and we'll talk about something totally different. So until next time, there's work to be done. Bye for now.